All right, checking in at number 4 of our top 10 running backs in college football heading into the 2024 season is our guy, Ashton Jeanty, out of Boise State. And I say our guy because we actually interviewed Ashton, I think a couple months ago now, and he was an unbelievable interview, Dawn. I had such a great time with him. And as good as he is on the mic, man, he's probably even better on the field, which is saying a lot considering how good of an interview he was.
Oh, he's honestly, he may not be number one on this list, but he's between the interview and then just watching him play. He's honestly my favorite player to watch on this list. The dual threat ability looks second in the country in overall grade, 94.6 rushing grade, top 5 yards after contact per attempt. He's the best receiving back in the country, and it's not close. It's not even close. The more I was looking at the metrics, look, Max, I'm going to be honest with you. On my list, the more I looked at, I had him number 2, and I actually considered for a moment putting him number 1. I really did. If he tears up, he even tore up Power 5 competition last year. He played a really good game against Washington. He was good against UCF. He had 100 total yards against an elite UCLA defense in their bowl game. He's, to me, the most versatile. He's the best dual threat back in the country. I just think an excellent zone runner, an excellent gap runner, a spectacular receiver. He mentioned to us that he was a receiver in high school, I believe, before his senior year. That's why he kind of got overlooked as a running back by the bigger schools. He's incredible. I think and I believe his PFF gas score came in around a 95 as well.
Yeah.
So the athleticism holds up even on a group of 5 team like Boise State. There is so much Ashton Jeanty can do, but to me, the two things that set him apart, the receiving ability. Again, he's by far the best receiving back in the country. I don't see anybody even close. And his vision to me is off the charts. I see a guy who sees the entire front 7 pre-snap, and then when you get in even the open field, there are times when he sees cutbacks 8 to 10 yards ahead of time. He's like kind of a thinking man's running back. You can just see he's the whole package. I had him number 2 on my list. I get if he's at Boise State, whatever you want to think is inflated, but he did it last year in 3 Power 5 games. I think he's going to continue to do elite things this year.
I mean, it could be the biggest reason why Boise State makes the college football playoff next year. Now there's a group of 5 spot in the college football playoff, and I think Boise State's one of the top contenders, and he's the biggest reason for it, man. Like I said, 95.6 gas, elite athlete. 2022 wasn't, it's not even a 1-year sample either. In 2022, he led all FBS true freshmen with an 89.5 grade. You mentioned it this past year, 95.1 grade, which led all FBS running backs, and I believe might have been the second highest out of all FBS players. Maybe Jaden Daniels was maybe beat him out. I know Latu is the highest graded, but Ashton, I have to check it out in a little bit. But Ashton Jeanty might have been the second highest graded player in college football last year, behind Latu. But most valuable running back in the country as well, according to a wins above average metric. Only running back in the country with 90 plus grades as a rusher and receiver. Going back to what you're saying about he's the best receiver in the country at running back, I think it's clear. 578 receiving yards last year, which were the most by a lot, 95 more than the next closest running back in college football. So unbelievable receiver out of the backfield. Third in the FBS as well on the ground in terms of forced missed tackles, with 82 forced missed tackles as a runner as well. So great runner, great receiver. I think he's great, man. And they mentioned it, how he's scheme versatile, 89th percentile gap, 98th percentile zone grade. He's unbelievable, man. So Ashton Jeanty, I think I might have been too low on him in my last ranking of him. I think I put him number 8 or so. Looking back, I might put him even higher, but he would still be number 4 on our list because of the top 3. But I think it's a pretty clear, for the NFL draft at least, pretty clear top 4 running backs in the NFL draft, and then the rest after that. But I think the top 4, which is the same top 4 as our list right now in the NFL draft, is pretty clear just because how versatile he is as a receiver and as a runner.
Yeah, I agree, and usually we get to, this is the part with these guys where we've gotten to what's their weakness, and honestly, Max, I don't know. I don't know with Jeanty. I mean, unless we were to see him go to a Power 5 school and struggle for any reason, I don't know. I think the only thing I can say is, like, down the stretch last year, he missed a couple of games and he was playing hurt, and they still had George Holani last year to really pick up a bigger workload as Jeanty was kind of working through what I believe was an ankle injury, but I can't remember. I don't have a legitimate flaw for this guy. I'm being serious. And again, people out there might think, well, he goes to Boise State. There's a lot of guys that'll look good at that level. And there are other group of 5 backs that I consider putting in my top 10. There's Quentin Cooley. There's Ja'Cory Merritt, who played at New Mexico State last year. There's, Penny Boone, who was great at Toledo last year, now is at UCF. But this is the guy. If there's any guy in the group of 5 or transferring into Power 5 from group of 5 that I would put money on, it's Ashton Jeanty. I just think Max is so much of his game, as long as the workload doesn't wear him down, because he's not just going to be one of the he will be the reason if Boise State makes the college football playoff. He will be the reason. He had over 1,900 yards last year total, and he missed 2.5 games and was kind of slower down the stretch. He made a prediction to us about 2,500 total yards. When you really think about it, that's not completely out of pocket.
No,
it's not. I could totally see 22 to 23, and if he gets to 2,500 total yards, he's going to get Heisman votes.
Oh yeah.
I think it is, when you look at what he can do both ways, and he can line up out there at receiver still and make things happen. He can do it all. I don't see a ton of flaws with Jeanty's game, and I just really, really hope the workload that he's going to get doesn't wear him down and that he stays healthy. Because to me, again, I had him number 2, and I even thought about him first because I got nothing against him. I really don't.
Yeah, I think the two things I will bring up with him. So one is the level of competition, obviously, in the Mountain West Conference, which is why he was lower on my list initially. Because obviously it is easier to put up those numbers against the Mountain West than it is, say, SEC or Big Ten or Pac-12 or ACC or whatever. The other thing I'll say that on field is a negative for him. He has fumbling issues. He does. He has 6 fumbles in his career, which is 16th percentile. What was the exact rate? It was 1.4% rate, which is a pretty high rate of fumbles in terms of his career touches. He has 6 fumbles on 432 touches. 5 of them were last season too. It wasn't even like a true freshman issue. Only 1 fumble as a true freshman. 5 on 261 touches this past year, which is about 2% fumble rate, which is really, really high. Which is 11th percentile among FBS running backs. So on the field, that's really the one big negative with him, is he does fumble a lot. Hopefully he's got to clean it up next year as a junior. But that's really it, man. Because otherwise, he's really good. He's obviously unbelievable as a receiver. He's unbelievable as a runner. And if he just cleans up the fumbling issues, I mean, he's scheme versatile as well. I think that he's a really good player. He's also a fine pass blocker too. 41st in pass blocking grade this last year. He could do it all for an offense. And I think he is pretty easily, in my opinion, the most versatile running back in college football. And that's going to be one of the biggest reasons why he's going to be one of the top running backs in the NFL draft, if not the top running back in the NFL draft, because of how versatile he is and everything he could do for an offense out there. But he is our number 4 running back in college football entering the 2024 season. That is Ashton Jeanty out of Boise State. Make sure you guys stay tuned for the top 3 of our list coming out very soon.